My name is Sarah Rosen, and this is my entry for 1 The Big Read. Here in the United States of America, children are fortunate enough to have a guaranteed primary education. From the age of 6, we learn arithmetic and reading, science and grammar, and if we're lucky, we'll be good at all of these subjects. However, like many other students in my first grade class, I was not the quintessential mathematician, nor the next up-and-coming Shakespeare of the age. Oh no. There was, however, one difference between my classmates and me. I could not read. It was not a matter of laziness or unwillingness to apply myself, as my teachers thought until I was in 3rd grade. I just could not read. When the character Bob in our first grade books, quote, walked down the street, I said Bob walked down the road, for I would describe what I saw and not read the text. As a 6-year-old, I managed to befuddle my teachers and even the principal of the private school which I attended. How does one misread street as road, they wondered. It took nearly 2 years of my mother insisting before I was tested for learning disabilities, during which time I had become an outcast in my class because I could not read or write. Coupled with this, I had been removed from my foreign language class and was forced to take private lessons with the vice principal during my recess because I was, quote, in need of improvement. This phrase would haunt my passage through elementary school. In 3rd grade, it was confirmed that I had dyslexia, a learning disability which stems from a weakness in the ability to associate sounds with symbols, causes letters or words to be perceived as reversed, and makes learning to read and write exceedingly difficult. At this point, I was in clinical depression. I was grade levels behind my classmates. When they were completing Wordly Wise 9 and 10, I was struggling through Wordly Wise 4.5, and I did not understand why. Young children have a tendency to mock things which are different, especially when they are supposed to be the same. But the ridicule did not stop with the children. Their parents would also treat me differently, unable or unwilling to consider that I might deserve their sympathy rather than their viciousness. An 8-year-old against a contemptuous class, against a collection of contemptible parents, and against the entire English language. My future looked bleak indeed, even though I could not look past the next day. After years of tutoring, I could finally read through a chapter book without asking nearby people how to read such and such word. My teachers watched my progress cheerfully. However, even to this day, I do not think they realize that they failed to teach me how to read. I'm currently a junior at Edward R. Murrow High School in New York City. I'm in the National Honor Society, and I am taking AP English Language and Composition. All of this from a dyslexic girl who could not read independently until 6th grade. But all because I had the means to get tested and tutoring in the first place. I volunteered for an English teacher who taught a freshman remedial English class, which was at the 6th grade reading level. I would sit in on her classes and hear 14-year-olds make the same mistakes that I had made before I started tutoring. Many of these kids are obviously dyslexic or have another learning disability. However, none of them are lucky enough to have the money or connections to get proper tutoring they need. When my AP class and the remedial English class are juxtaposed, it makes what should be one of the top priorities of the United States of America abundantly clear. Children, people in general, should never be prevented from getting what they want or what they need to survive because of the inability to read. It can be one of the simplest things for some, but as a result becomes unappreciated. If I was ridiculed for not being able to read, imagine what those who have no basic education whatsoever must face. Where someone is born and into what situation should not determine whether a person is successful and happy. In our society, a decent education is not only necessary, but can also be provided to the majority of the world if we as a people, and we as a nation, put effort into the attempt.